Mike, put your microphone on.
Ready when you are, Mayor.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our special called Town Council meeting of February 24th, 2021. Madam Clerk, if you could please take the roll.
Good evening, Councilmember Corriott.
Here.
Councilmember Lord.
Here.
Councilmember Duncan.
Here.
Vice Mayor Callahan.
Here.
Mayor Mearbot.
Present.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Debbie, if you could please read the directions for our virtual meeting.
Yes, when joining the meeting, you are automatically muted. Welcome to tonight's meeting. The public was able to make public comments. No, there were no public comments previous to this meeting. If you wish to speak tonight, please press *9 and the host will be alerted. Pressing *9 is known as raising your hand. Once you press *9, you'll be placed in a queue to speak and will be called upon by your name or the last 3 digits of your phone number. Please wait to be called upon. Please state your name and address. And if you're a hired consultant or town employee or if you're engaged in lobbying activities or representing an organization, please provide that information before speaking. Please be sure to be in a quiet area to avoid unnecessary noise, and a time limit of 3 minutes will be imposed for each speaker during public comments. Your cooperation is appreciated. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And before we get started, if you could all rise with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Council. And also, before we begin tonight, I don't know if many of you have heard that the previous Vice Mayor of South Miami, Rob Welsh, or sometimes referred to as Bicycle Bob, has passed away. He was commissioner from 2012 through 2016, and he was the vice mayor from 2016 until 2021. So if you could all join me in a moment of silence and reflection for the Vice Mayor, Bob Welsh. Our condolences go to his family and to South Miami on their loss. Okay, Council, we are here because of our fantastic clerk, Debbie Eastman, has decided to go ahead and retire, which is well deserved. And I know I gave her a hard time last meeting only because such a great job. She's going to be very, very difficult to replace. So we need to talk about what we need to do that. So we have a couple of options going forward. Number one, we could actually go out and hire a firm to do a recruitment process. We also could do a public notice advertising the position, as well as consider internal candidates as well. So Ralph, should I defer to you or Debbie to kind of give a little more background on what you think this would look like?
So Mayor, it'll be a tag team effort today. We have, part one will be, Debbie did a great job updating the job description since our last recruitment process. So she'll take that part, and then we'll jump into the recruitment process that we've done in the past. So with that, Debbie.
Okay. If Jasmine could share that on the screen, that would be helpful. So we're all looking at the same thing at once, please. I did, after speaking with the mayor about my resignation, I asked to look at the job description and realized that it needed to be updated in some areas because of the duties changing, and also some of them had also been overlooked when the description was drawn up. So we get to the description page. On the first page, at the bottom bullet point.
I'm sorry, Debbie, do you know the page number where the job description is on the agenda packet?
7 of 19.
7 of 19. Here we go.
At the bottom of that page, actually the last bullet on that page, the description, the underlined is what we're used to looking at when it comes to changes in resolutions and ordinances. The underlined is new wording, and the cross outs that I made are just to make it make sense. The job description simply said that the town clerk serves as the qualifying officer for the supervisor of elections and coordinates them with the Miami-Dade County Supervisor of Elections. And that is, of course, in accordance with our town ordinance. I added some language there to reflect that we do have automated electronic campaign treasurer reports at this point. And that adds some additional duties as to be familiar with that and to help the candidates go through that process and learn how to use that software. And also there's some additional duties that didn't exist before as far as preparation of ballots. Miami-Dade County elections has been a little less hands-on in some of those areas for the municipalities. And so the responsibility is falling to the clerk's office. And also Cutler Bay has a little different situation in our charter regarding a canvassing board. Most municipalities appoint their own canvassing board, and our charter has a provision in it that the canvassing board is the county. And so that makes a little more collaboration with the Miami-Dade County elections to make sure that that appointment is made. On the next page, the second bullet maintains records of committee appointments. And I added to that it's more than just maintaining the records, it's advertising for vacancies per the town code, provide resumes to the appointing council members and coordinate meeting attendance and with the new appointee. And also coordinating technological assistance associated with now virtual meetings. The bullet below that starts with administers and assists in preparation of annual budget. I thought it was a good idea and to add that the clerk has a responsibility to suggest upgrades if there's something applicable to their position. I know, for example, with the electronic voter, I don't mean voter, I mean campaign treasurers reporting, it was actually a council member that brought that forward. So this puts the responsibility on the clerk to closely monitor those things, which I think is important. The next bullet before that, financial disclosures have become a little more complicated over the years, I'm sure, since this was first prepared. There's now requirements for ethics training for not only newly elected officials, but for sitting elected officials. And although the clerk does not keep track of when and if you take that training, it's good for them to know that it's part of their job to be proactive. And when we were in person, even coordinated with our attorney's office and the Ethics Commission, Miami-Dade County, for in-house training when we were in-house, so that our elected officials didn't have to go downtown in the middle of a day to, a work day or something to get that training. So when everything goes back to normal and you have training available in-house, I think it was a good idea to suggest that. Just below that, we have coordinates postings to town official website. We have a PIO now, so most of those postings are taken care of by that office. But added to that, the manager's office and I recently hammered out the particulars of the responsibility for the town clerk calendar of the annual meetings of not only the town council, but the committees, and of course maintains the town clerk and elections page on the website. The next bullet I crossed out because I didn't feel it was in keeping with what the charter said. It's more than supervises and evaluates. The charter actually says hires, evaluates performance, and promotes and removes employees in the clerk's office. So I just cleaned that up a little. Down a little further, receives property lien, it's underlined. This was not in there, and it's a major part of one person's job in the office. I think we had a healthy revenue from this, so it should be in here as far as the responsibility for the property lien, code violations, burglar alarm searches, and we perform the search and we provide the appropriate response and certification. And this, of course, is what people need, that clerk's signature, swearing to that information being true so that they can get a mortgage. Then I also noticed that the procurement duties were not in this, so I added them. This is one of those duties that I think goes back to the fact that the town clerk's office and the manager's office and these were the original offices for Cutler Bay, and and we don't have a procurement department as many other municipalities with larger and deeper departments have. All of the procurement, the bids, the RFPs, the ITBs all start with the town clerk's office assigning a number so we can keep track of it. The department that works for the manager that is in charge of that particular bid sets up a schedule of events, and we verify that all of those key dates are okay with the clerk's office as well. We handle the legal advertising for the bids. We attend the pre-bid meetings, which are usually held there in the chambers with the potential bidders, and record them. And then during the process, the town clerk is the point person for any questions. So to keep that a clean process where there is no discussion with the particular department involved in the bid. And there is, of course, a date in that schedule of events where the questions become answered, but the clerk's responsible for gathering all those and communicating that to the department. At the time of the bid due date, the clerk's office accepts the bid proposals, holds the public bid openings, and records the bid proposals and the applicable bid bonds. So that's a large task. It doesn't happen 100 times a year, but when it does happen, it's important to manage all those details. The next bullet, the cross out, I don't know, it didn't flow well. So I just tried to put attest the documents But you could leave the signatures of the mayor and town manager in there. That's fine. Next page is the education and minimum requirements. The third bullet down said must be eligible for and agree to secure certified municipal clerk. Actually, be eligible for and agree to secure doesn't really set the bar as far as being a certified municipal clerk. And in order to be a certified municipal clerk, or in order to be a master municipal clerk, you have to first be a certified municipal clerk. So there seemed to be a little confusion in this last page. So I changed the language to say must obtain, which to obtain, they have to secure. And then under preferred requirements, in the next section, preferred requirements is either a certified municipal clerk or a master municipal clerk. And taking it out of the section below that, that says, if you go down, please. Licenses and certifications preferred. So that just reflects certified or master. You have to get one before the other. So it's not really a license. So that's the changes that I made to the job description. If you have any questions, happy to answer them.
Okay. And do we have to vote as a council to go ahead and agree to these job descriptions, correct? Or
I wasn't here when you created them all last time. I don't think, Ralph. Did you get a vote for them before?
Ask to accept these changes, or is that my purveyance there? Anybody? Mitch, I'm going to ask you specifically then.
I'm sorry.
So do we need to have a council vote on these job description changes, or does that lie under my task?
Well, I think that the you'd originally scheduled this as a workshop. So staff, the purpose of the workshop is to direct staff or allow staff to get a sense of the council's wishes. So if anybody has any comments on the job description, they can add them. But otherwise, I think that staff can assume that we can use this job description.
All right, then I'm going to open up to the council real quick. Do you have any questions or concerns about the changes to the job description?
Reasonable.
Okay, they're reasonable. Okay, staff, and we'll go ahead and move forward to that. And I do, before we go forward, I do realize that we did not address the public comments. So before we discuss the recruitment process and those type of things, I'd like to open up the floor for public comments. So Debbie, if you could please read the directions for public comments.
If you wish to speak tonight, please press *9 and the host will be alerted. Pressing *9 is known as raising your hand. Once you press *9, you'll be placed in a queue to speak and will be called upon by your name or the last 3 digits of your telephone number. Please state your name and address, and if you're a hired consultant or town employee, or if you're engaged in lobbying activities or representing an organization, please provide that information before speaking. The time limit will be 3 minutes. Thank you.
All right, Jasmine, is there anybody in the queue to speak on this?
Mayor, there is no one in the queue at this time.
Okay, I will close public comments.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Vice Mayor Callahan.
I'd like clarification, please. Notification on this meeting called for a special call town council meeting. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Is this a special call or is this a workshop? Because it does affect the way we vote.
Yeah, this is. Go ahead, Mitch.
This is a special call meeting. It was originally a workshop to discuss the clerk position, but an action item was added to the agenda, which will require a vote. And so therefore it is a special call meeting.
Thank you. Yep, just wanted to clarify that. Thanks.
All right. All right, Debbie, thank you for the job description. I think the consensus of the council, we accept those changes and we can move forward with that. So now we need to discuss our proposed recruitment process and I guess the timeline. So Ralph, I will defer to you on that one, or are we still going to have?
Yep, thank you, Mayor and members of council. And tonight I'm going to have Jasmine Gonzalez, my Administrative Services Director, who we've been involved together in this recruitment timeline process. I think this is probably the third time. So what we're going to go through briefly is the timeline that we put together with the dates in between, consistent with what we've done in the past. So, Jasmine, if you could put that on the screen and then prepare your part of the presentation.
Absolutely, Mr. Manager. Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor and members of the Town Council. This is actually the third time in a row since my employment began with the town in 2012, being involved in the recruitment process for the position of Town Clerk. I'm going to share the timeline with you now so that you guys can see what we're working with. And this is pretty much in the same style and format as, you know, if you were to move forward with hiring a headhunter, for example, or some kind of company that can look for a new clerk for you. I basically just copied that format and worked with the town manager to go ahead and advertise the position with all of the available mediums. So as you can see, we plan, well, the proposed timeline includes posting the position on March 1st, which is this upcoming Monday, and it will be advertised with the Florida Association of City Clerks, Florida League of Cities, Miami-Dade County Clerks Association, the International Institute of Municipal Clerks, Florida City and County Management Association, as well as being posted on all of our social media outlets and our town website, which includes a posting on governmentjobs.com. So the proposed posting date is, like I said, Monday, March 1st, and we plan to advertise for 2 months, I believe. So the deadline to submit applications would be May 3rd, 2021. On May 7th, it's proposed to provide recruitment binders, which will be compiled and provided for distribution to all of the council members. I have separated the binders into two. So you'll have one binder, which includes responsive candidates or candidates that meet the minimum qualifications per the position as advertised. And then you'll have a second binder that includes candidates who've applied that do not meet the minimum qualifications for the position. In the last 3 recruitment processes, we did receive quite a number of applications. So I do provide fair warning, the binders are quite large. If you prefer them in a USB format, I can provide that as well. May 19th is our scheduled regular town council meeting. So we could, you know, it's up to the council to possibly schedule a workshop for May 26th to discuss the shortlisting of the candidates. Then May 26th would be that workshop where you would discuss all the candidates that you've reviewed applications for, and then select your top candidates and put them on a short list. And then I can coordinate all of the interviews between June 21st and June 24th. I also compile all the letters to the candidates who are not selected for the interviews, or as we lovingly like to call them, TNT letters, thanks, no thanks. And I will contact any candidates that you wish to schedule for a secondary interview. It's not included on this timeline, but it is a possibility that you can bring up during the workshop as well. 4th week of June, virtual or in-person interviews. We can go ahead and schedule all of those on Zoom, as I have been for all of our vacancies that we've experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic. So dating back to March 2020, all of our interviews have been virtual via Zoom, and they have flowed very, very smoothly. Some have even said that they prefer the Zoom interviews better than in-person interviews. And then July 21st, 2021 is a regular town council meeting agenda item. The resolution basically selecting the town clerk with the final candidate receiving their conditional offer of employment. So that pretty much sums up the timeline. Again, I compile all of the candidate applications for you in order of receipts. And then I separate them into the 2 binders and provide a copy of the job description. And speaking of the job description, I'm going to go ahead and show you my little from 2017, which was the last recruitment process that we did. I put together a very pretty position description, which kind of is basically what a headhunting company would put together, something nice that advertises the town. Let me just find it for you. And here it is. Now, this is something that we can restructure. I can work with our PIO, who's a genius at this kind of thing, and obviously update it and make it ADA compliant and more reader friendly. This is a little convoluted with all of the text. However, it does get the point across as to providing a thorough background on the community and an explanation of our town form of government, which is the council manager form of government. It provides an explanation and description of the position and what the ideal candidate must possess in terms of, what we're looking for, their skills and talents. It also breaks down part of the job description in terms of the minimum requirements and the preferred requirements. This is an old picture we would obviously update. And then it would illustrate the tasks below. And then the tasks are continued on this page. It provides a brief overview of the salary and benefits. And then finally, on the last page, it does review the selection process, which is something that we can also update. So here in 2017, we directed the candidates to provide their resumes, cover letters, and applications to the town manager. But if you—
Hello?
Excuse me?
Hey,
Okay. If you prefer that the applications go directly to me or somewhere else, we can arrange for that. Like I said, the position will be posted on our website and applicants will be applying electronically. But if we have out-of-state candidates, which I have seen this in the past, they do send their applications and cover letters the old-fashioned way in the mail. So if we get any of those, I can also tab them and let you know this application was specifically received via hard copy in the mail, if you'd like. All of this is completely, we can change it to whatever the town council would like to update. It's totally up to you guys.
Okay. Thank you, Jasmine. It's kind of hard to read on the screen here, so I'd like to look at it a little more personal, where all of us can go ahead and give comments on it. And does the council have any questions on the timelines?
No, if I may, Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I
Pete,
think the timeline, it works because you want to be able to have a thorough search. You don't want to rush it. The one question or comment that I do have is, will the town council be appointing an interim clerk either at the March meeting or sometime prior to Debbie leaving us in April, since the timeline kind of stretches into, June, July?
Yeah, I believe go ahead, take it, Ralph. Thank you.
Thank you. That was going to be my part B, was going to be that. Thank you, Councilmember. Yes, as we've done in the past, we would go ahead and appoint, and we already have a placeholder on the March council meeting because Debbie is leaving in between the 2 council meetings. We're researching what we've done in the past. That interim clerk will be receiving the phone allowance, car allowance, and the compensation. We're reviewing what we've done in the past, and that'll all be part of via resolution and the March agenda.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And Mayor, what we could do also as part of that agenda, we could have just another, we'll provide the update to kind of blend in the timeline, if that's acceptable to the council. And like Jasmine said, go through and kind of maybe change some of the graphics and provide that recruitment package as just an FYI for the council.
Right. And I think one of the questions that came up in the past has been whether we just want to go ahead and advertise the job or whether we want to use a recruitment for a headhunting firm. I think with this day of age of electronic media, being able to get the word out, I think we'll get plenty of candidates to look on our own, and not to mention that Cutler Bay has a little more prestigious name on its own, or for someplace where people might like to work. So, I don't think we'd need to use a headhunter firm to do that. I don't know if anybody on the other council has any ideas on that, so I'll open the floor for that. No? Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I
Rob?
would agree with you. I don't think that, especially economically, I don't think we should be spending money on headhunting when everything is done virtually and digitally at the moment. So I think everything that you said, it makes perfect sense. I think Cutler Bay will sell itself on its own merits and its own reputation. So I don't think we're going to have an issue attracting qualified candidates.
Ralph, your opinion is important to me as well, so can you
Yeah,
share?
I mean, Mayor, either fortunate or unfortunately, we have a couple of these under our belts. I could tell you just when we experienced the first couple of recruitments, and I'll get a shake of the head from Debbie now in a second, where sometimes when you get to the point that you're doing the finalists, some of these folks would like to get flown into town and what have you. But I think now in the world that we live in with electronic format with Zoom, that'll probably make it a lot more easier, right? I mean, I went through it when we went through a strict recruitment process for our community development director, right? I kid everybody, say, hey, we got Jared, we stole him from the city of New Orleans. His meetings, his were all Zoom pre-COVID. We were just trying to figure out the Zoom world at that point. So I think it makes it a lot easier in this world, as Councilman Duncan said, with the technology we have. So Debbie.
Thank you. I just wanted to add one thing from experience, and especially if you're using electronic media to search for a job, I would stay away from any kind of newspaper advertising, or be careful with the word clerk, because every clerk in a grocery store or every clerk at a gas station says, wow, this looks like a good paying job, I can do that. So you end up getting a gazillion more applications that aren't relevant to what you're looking for. So I noticed on the proposed timeline, we had the e-notification list. I'm not so sure that's a good idea, because Aunt Mary gets that and says, oh, my niece is a clerk and she could apply for that job. So I would suggest that you stick to your professional associations. As you know, there's only one clerk in every municipality. So the real experienced talent pool is not that big.
Right. And Jasmine, so that e-notification, would you concur with Debbie's assessment on that? And do you think that would be wise to remove that?
I absolutely concur with Debbie. I do believe that title in and of itself does leave a lot open for the general public to think it's a very clerk basic job, but it's not. And in 2017, when we advertised this position, that's exactly what we got in the not responsive applications, is a ton of applicants that just did not meet the minimum because they saw the word clerk and they thought they could do it. But another thing about the e-notifications list is that it is something that is targeted mostly at our residents. And I believe that it would be nice to provide our residents with the opportunity to apply if they do meet the minimum qualifications.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. I really think we want to focus on a talent pool, though we will be able to notice through our PIO that we're looking for a clerk position. I don't believe that we need to go ahead and advertise that on the notification to get additional applicants. So again, I'm looking for the rest of the council for either an agreement with that or a difference of opinion. BJ?
The only thing that I would be leery of, and maybe it's finding a common ground, is being able to at least openly communicate with the residents that the town is seeking a town clerk, just so that they know that we are creating a search, not necessarily, inviting them to apply or making it easy for town residents through this e-blast to apply or have a link to it, but just sharing the information that the town will be searching for a clerk replacement. That would just be my 2 cents. I don't know what the rest of the council feels.
Yeah, so you're in agreement, like I said, so we can send it out through our PIO and make sure that's advertised that we are looking. But Jasmine, I don't want the application, somebody to be able to apply through that e-notification. because it's not really, it was not fruitful in the past, and we don't need to go there again. Okay.
No problem, Mayor.
Okay. All right. So council, we basically have our job description, we have our timeline laid out, we have the recruitment process laid out. Ralph or Debbie, is there anything you'd like to add to that? Neither?
No, thank you. I think you'll be in good shape. And as soon as I tell the Florida Association of City Clerks, you probably will start to get applications anyway.
Right. And Mayor, it's not like Debbie's leaving tomorrow, right? So we're going to work closely with her before we, push anything out, because she knows she's done this before as well, and other municipalities that we've worked together with as well. So again, we're going to be using her as well, her expertise.
Okay. All right, team, we have a plan. So do I have a consensus that we want to move forward as discussed? Yes. Anybody opposed? No? All right, we have a plan to move forward. Anything else, Ralph, on that? No? Mitch, are we good with that? Okay. All right. Very good. So we have consensus and we'll move forward with that plan. Thank you, Jadson. Thank you, Debbie, and thank you, Ralph. Okay. That takes us to our town manager's report. Ralph, do you have a town manager's report for us tonight?
Just briefly, Mayor, this just came over my email. I don't know if you guys remember, we had a resident named Brian Wilson that was on one of our committees, and he actually started, and what I have here is a mobile testing site that it's a state-approved mobile testing site. And he called me just early this morning saying that he's in this unit is in Miami, and he wanted to come by and kind of maybe just kind of have it like a little display, maybe in our parking lot, from between 3:30 and 5 o'clock tomorrow, just so the council could take a look at it. I mean, I think the story is going to be, this is a local resident that is doing this throughout the state of Florida, that he's testing. He's tested thousands of folks for the COVID-19. They're converting the vehicle, I call the big bus, to actually vaccines. So he's actually in town for a couple of days, and I said, listen, I'll try my best to try to squeeze it in. I know there's not enough time for sunshine notice, but I'll work with the clerk to make like separate appointments if the council's available. Again, he's going to be here between 3:30 and 5 o'clock. That way we assure that there's not two council members at the same time. I think it's a very interesting looking bus, and I think that will be something that we could certainly push to the state legislature. As you know, we have a lot of senior centers in our town, towers, that this bus could just literally park in the parking lot and go. I mean, I know from personal experience, I had to wait 4.5 hours for my 96-year-old grandma to get the shot at Hard Rock Stadium, and I had to do that twice. So this is something that I think it's really good. And again, I'll work out the details with the clerk, and we'll put just appointment timelines there. And again, if you're available, I know it's short notice, but I think it would be great. At least we get that word out. So thank you, Mayor. That's all I had.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Mitch, town attorney report. Do you have anything for us tonight?
Nothing to report tonight.
Thank you.
Oh,
And-
I do. There was one case that came out today, and I'm not sure the relevance of it. I haven't discussed it with Ralph, but it was interesting. It was a 3rd District Court of Appeals case that upheld a lower court decision that found that school districts are immune from stormwater fees under the state's sovereign immunity. So they're not immune from most user fees, but then that was what was interesting about this case. The city of Miami Beach had been dunning the school board for stormwater fees since 2012, and the school board refused to pay, and the city of Miami Beach sued, and the court ultimately found that there is a sovereign immunity that prevents a municipality from charging stormwater fees to school boards. It does not extend to solid waste or other types of user fees, but for some reason that one is considered to be exempt by sovereign immunity. So I thought that was an interesting legal development worth reporting on.
Thank you very much. All right, Debbie, town clerk's report. Do you have anything additional?
I just wanted to mention that, last week at your regular meeting, you approved the environmental task force. And under the code, the clerk advertises that for 2 weeks. 1 week having gone by as of today, and I've received no resumes. So if we were to get some appointments on the agenda for March, as I know Councilman Coriat suggested, maybe talk it up to a few people in town and have them get their resumes over here so we could get it on the March agenda. Other than that, we'll keep advertising it for as long as we need to, but I just thought I'd bring it up so to bring it to the forefront. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so that brings us to our next section of public comments before we go forward again. So Debbie, you've already read the instructions for public comments. So I'm opening up the floor for public comments.
Mayor, there's no one in the queue at this time.
All right. Then I will close public comments. We have no ordinances on tonight, but we do have a resolution 11A. So Debbie, if you could please read 11A.
Certainly. A resolution of the mayor and town council of the town of Cutler Bay, Florida, supporting the proposed construction of a bridge on Southwest 87th Avenue, urging the Miami-Dade County Transportation Planning Organization Governing Board to support the construction of the bridge, providing for transmittal and providing for an effective date.
Thank you very much. And this is an item that I brought forward, and one of the reasons that I called the special council meeting. I think we all know the history of the bridge saga very, very well. This is an arterial road that's been planned since before the 70s. You can tell by the design of the street and the land leading up to where the bridge is supposed to be. It was supposed to be an arterial road. 87th Avenue is a wider road than most of the roads within the county, and as well as the houses on there are set back further than what you would normally see. We have seen 4 or 5 studies that have come through from the county, from the Corradino Group, Kinley Horn, Marlin Engineering, among others, that have indicated that this bridge will significantly have a positive effect in the reduction of the rush hour traffic in that area, as much as a 3-hour reduction in rush hour a day. And the citizens of Cutler Bay, which I consider, many of them working class, just trying to get to work, being kept in their cars, being kept prisoner in their cars for an unfathomable amount of time each week, to protect what many of the residents of that area call their quiet neighborhood. I don't think it's a fair trade-off for them to share a county road, which is paid for by county dollars, which was designed for county use, to be excluded to the county to the south that are just trying to get to work. In this day of COVID, we can see that how the isolation is starting to cause emotional angst, increases in domestic abuse and many things like that. And it's very akin to being trapped in your car for an extra 5, 6, 10 hours, 15 hours a week. It has the same effect. So for the mental health of the town of Cutler Bay and for the residents that live to the south of us as well, I think it's very important that we support this initiative to complete the grid and have this bridge put in. We have a commissioner representing us, Daniela Cohen-Higgins, who has been willing to champion this cause. And the reason she brought this forward is because when she was on the campaign trail, she indicated that was the thing that she heard each and every day, that people were complaining about the traffic, and they were complaining about the 87th Avenue Bridge and connectivity, and that she was destined to determined to do something about that. So she has brought this forward. The item has been moved to the TPO. This is not a quick fix item. This is something that's been planned for a very, very long time. The bridge is not the complete answer to all the traffic woes, but just as the building in the south was incremental, this bridge will be an incremental improvement to the traffic flow in the south of the county, in addition to the BRT, in addition to the traffic circles on Old Cutler. According to the traffic engineers, the reduction in traffic due to this bridge being built will be very similar to the reduction in traffic when school is not in session. And if you ever observe the traffic when school is not in session, it's night and day difference. And we've had drone footage of showing that the backup from 82nd Avenue down 168 down 87th Avenue to Eureka and beyond. It's amazing how long the line of traffic is. Somebody sent a picture today of a Waze snapshot, and that road was completely red. All the other roads around it were not. The average mile per hour on that road, I think, was 4 miles per hour. So to me, the need for this is very, very clear. The traffic engineer's reports are very, very clear. The voices of our citizens are very, very clear. And not only just the voices of our citizens, also voices of a large percentage of the citizens of Palmetto Bay who also have to deal with this. So I just wanted to make sure that the TPO and our commissioner was well aware that Cutler Bay's support of this bridge is strong. And I want to take this opportunity again to bring this forward, to know that we haven't changed. And even as more evidence has come in, we're in stronger support of this. So I would urge the council to go ahead and adopt this resolution in support. So I will open this up for discussion on that. Roger, you have the floor.
Thanks. Can you just catch us up briefly and politically, I guess, on the status of the connectivity committee? Because I just want to get all my ducks in a row here on that.
Not a problem. All right. So originally, the commissioner wanted to ensure that the residents that were for the bridge and the residents that were against the bridge had the opportunity to share their views publicly, as well as to see if they could go ahead and be a little further educated on either side of why people don't want it and why people want it. The committee met twice to discuss the issues, and for the first two meetings was pretty much very much anecdotal, people sharing feelings. Some of the committee members were sharing some of the reports that came through and some of the facts behind it. At the last committee meeting, there was some callers that were calling in that were very passionate about their stance on the bridge. There was a little bit of back and forth on whether the rules on how long people were supposed to speak. I don't think anything was disrespectful from any of the committee members, but there was some, I guess, parliamentary procedures on how long people should talk and those kind of things. And they did at the last meeting vote to switch the chair, which they felt that since there was 4 meetings and 4 people on each side, then that the chairperson should probably switch back and forth. The chair was switched. The next meeting, they were actually going to have, per the request of the committee, have members from the county's planning organization come in, from fire and police to come in, and from the property appraisers to come in, because those are some of the complaints. Is the property value will go down, traffic will be drawn to the area because of the bridge, crime will go up, and rather than just have people's feelings, they felt to be necessary to get the experts to come in and speak. The commissioner arranged for the experts to come in and answer the questions of the committee. And shortly after that, we were notified by Mayor Cunningham that she felt that the decorum of the committee was not acceptable and that her members were not treated with respect. So she pulled her members off. We did not want the committee to die just because one side pulled out, especially when we had the critical piece of actually listening to the people that can provide facts and evidence behind the allegations. So that being said, one side pulled out, the committee was reformulated. So now it only has 4 members, and granted, there's all our 4 members from Cutler Bay. And it's been scheduled at the same time as before. So it will be going forward Thursday at 7 o'clock. It will be held in our chambers this time. And they will have the experts or the staff members from the county to speak on those issues, as well as they also requested some of the I guess, authors of the reports, the traffic studies that have been done before, but that has not been arranged as of yet. Don't know if it will be. But they do still have the reports to look at, so they can read from those as well. So that's where we are. Palmetto Bay is formulated their own committee as well to go ahead and discuss their issues. And at this point, we still have 2 more meetings for the connectivity committee from here in Cutler Bay. And when they're done, it's not really a voting body. They're not deciding whether they like it or they're for or against it. It was really designed as an information sharing format. But we will be going forward in front of the TPO on their March 18th meeting. And up until then, I'd like to go ahead and garner as much support from the people who have been the silent majority. So we're encouraging people to email the TPO members, to email the Board of County Commissioners and share their thoughts and feelings on this bridge. And we'd like to provide links to them so help them do that as much as possible. And basically, again, just make sure that their voices is heard. It's a very, very important issue. I think we all know that. We've all been out in the streets and we know how important it is to the quality of life for the people that live south of 163rd Street, between the US 1 corridor and the Bay. So, any questions about it? Hopefully I covered everything.
No,
Working without a net, no notes here, okay?
yeah, I mean, one issue I had with the structure of that committee as it was described was it's the implication that everyone in Cutler Bay is for it, everyone in Palmetto Bay is against it. We want 4 for it from Cutler Bay, 4 against it from Palmetto Bay. And as you said a few moments ago, and I mean, we all know well, there are plenty of people in Palmetto Bay, especially south of a certain point, that would support this. And who knows, there might be people in Cutler Bay that would oppose it for some reason. And so I think it's kind of disingenuous the way that it was laid out. So,
well, and again, I had a discussion with the commissioner about it, and we weren't really trying to gauge the popularity of for or against in each community, but we recognize that a majority in Cutler Bay and the majority, well, I don't even know if it's a majority in Palmetto Bay, support it, but that's why she asked each mayor to make that selection. I selected the people that, quite honestly, all the applications we had were for the bridge. All the applications for Palmetto Bay were, I guess, Ralph, they were split about 50-50, or do you remember the number?
Palmetto Bay received 19 applications, 9 for the construction, 10 against the construction.
So Palmetto Bay was very divided on their people that wanted to participate. And, per the design, I guess, they put 4 people that were for the bridge rather than a split. At one point, they were considering having me appoint 4 additional members from Palmetto Bay, which I did not do, obviously. And so that's why the committee is going forward as it is. And again, this committee is not to take a vote and gauge what the feelings of the community were. This committee was to make sure that people had the opportunity to share their voices, and the people we selecting were those that could, I guess, from a more local level, share the voices and opinions of those in the community. So I think people expected more of it as far as what the task were. It really wasn't to create a report. It wasn't to do anything other than just hey, let's get more information out there. And I think we're achieving that, especially with this next meeting on Thursday. The committee members will have the opportunity to ask the people the questions to answer the allegations of property value decrease, increased traffic, increased crime, and all those other things. And if those things are going to happen, what is the extent of those? And is the extent of those worth prohibiting or making a mother stay in her car for another 15 hours a week instead of going home to her children? So, Ralph, you're recognized, sir.
And Mayor, thank you. And I can tell you, at least it's been fluid, right, Mayor? I think our phone was ringing off the hook. I was at the clerk's office all day yesterday trying to navigate everything that we had to do for the public notice, for our friends at Commissioner Cohen's office. But I can tell you, from a professional standpoint, we've been in communication with the village manager and the village clerk in Palmetto Bay, to the point that they understood that we were going to have those expert testimonials during the CCC, modified CCC meeting on Thursday at 7 p.m., which, by the way, we're going to preview our much anticipated video camera that's there to live stream. So much for testing and tuning. This is the real thing right there. So that's going to be fun. But nevertheless, I know that the task force that was created in Palmetto Bay is the village manager's task force, which that task force meeting is going to start within the hour. So they were gracious enough to realize that they were going to hold their meeting tonight, so all the residents who are interested can watch the Zoom meeting on that we're hosting tomorrow at 7 o'clock. So we were able to kind of work out those details behind the scenes as managers. And so that gives the Palmetto Bay residents an opportunity to watch the experts. So thank you, Mary. I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Ralph. And I do want to make it very clear. Obviously, the mayor of Palmetto Bay and I are on two different sides on this issue. But we're united on many others, and we work together on many other issues, and we'll continue to do so. We are in constant communication. It's very difficult to navigate around an issue which is as emotional as this and not creating any animosity. So we're working very hard to keep it professional, focus on this one issue. I'm going to advocate and fight for the people in the South as much as I can. And I would expect that she's going to do what she needs to do for her residents as well. We still are very professional and cordial, and they can recognize that we're still going to work together on many other issues. But we're going to be divided on this one, and that's okay. We don't always have to be in alignment. So, but I think we're getting some momentum on finally highlighting how severe the problem is, and that's step number one. And step number two is finding the solutions. And the bridge is not the magic bullet that's going to cure it, but it's certainly going to help. That's what the traffic engineers have told us. So I think we need to advocate for that, in addition to the other things such as the rapid transit and the circles on Old Cutler. So any other questions? No, with that, I'd like to have a motion for approval of this resolution.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion from Councilman Coriat and a second by Councilman Callahan. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And none opposed. This motion passes. So, again, that is all we have on our agenda tonight. And so thank you very much, staff and for council for attending this special session. But we still need to do a lot of work as far as getting the word out to everybody. So if you all have your own private emails or list or Facebook list or anything like that, I'd encourage you to get the word out. Contact your Board of County Commissioners, contact the TPO members, and let your voice be heard. Now's the time we need to let everybody know you need to be heard. They can't rely on us to do it alone. I will be speaking in front of the TPO. I'm glad to hear that I have the complete support of our council going forward doing that. But our residents need to speak up as well, and especially the residents from unincorporated Dade County to our south need to speak up as well. So time to shake the trees and get the voices heard. BJ, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. If I might suggest or ask for the town manager to provide each of us with the contact information, emails for each of the TPO members so that we can then disseminate information to the residents as well as ourselves.
All right. Ralph, I think you'll have no problem doing that, correct?
Thank you, guys.
Okay. All right. Anything else from anybody else? No. Thank you again. This meeting is adjourned.